Hello.
Oh, look at you.
Here we are.
Nice. Hello. So it's just us right now, I think,
Yes. So
thankfully.
we're waiting for Khadija to join us and people to
Sh-
slowly join.
sh- Should I invite her already?
We have 3 minutes to go, so I guess it's
Yeah.
fine. So while people
Yeah.
connect, she has time to check her tech and things like that.
Okay.
That would be
Oh, we
nice.
have someone who's joined us. Hi,
Yes.
one
Hi, I'm
person.
actually
Hello.
going. Hi, Alexi.
Oh, what?
Nice to see you.
So we're waiting for just a couple of minutes before we start. I decided in the end to just hold my phone because I couldn't find anything to put it on. So,
Okay, no, I find some books that I hope they stay still, so
okay.
it should be fine. But yes. Okay,
Okay.
Khadija is ready, so we just need to
Okay.
invite her.
Okay, let me do that now. What was
Okay.
her, what was it again? What was her username again?
Is Aisha Wonderlust is the
Aisha, yes. Okay, Aisha.
okay. So in the
Let's find
meantime,
her.
welcome people. Nice to see you at this live, at this activist live, as we called it.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
So I've sent her the invite. She'll join in a minute and
Perfect.
then we can start. I apologize for how shaky my video is going to be. I unfortunately did not have one of those phone holder thingies because I'm not on TikTok.
Now I'm
Otherwise, I might
using
have it.
I'm using books, old school books, to
Yeah.
hold my phone. So, but I think
Feel
Khadija is
bad.
coming.
Yeah, I see her. She says, "Here I am." How do I?
But I think she's following, but she's not in
Oh,
the live. So,
go live. Yes, I did it now.
okay. So she should accept the invitation.
I said it again.
Okay. Here
I
we
did it
go.
again. Third time.
I'm gonna
Yes,
tell her.
there we go.
Here you are.
Hello. Hi, hi.
Hello.
Our guest star. You joined us.
Hi,
Yay.
we did it.
Yes, we
Yay.
worked it out. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm a bit sick because I left 27 degrees and I
Yes.
found like 13, 14 degrees. So there is a huge difference between the
Yes.
weather in Sharm el Sheikh and here in Turin. But I'm
Yes.
fine.
Okay.
What
Yes.
about you?
I'm good. Also, I'm looking forward to hearing all about how it went at COP27, where Khadija was, for the people joining us.
Yeah, it was
And
crazy. I mean, wow. It's my first COP ever, so for me it was a first experience. And unfortunately, I couldn't stay more because it
yeah.
started this week on Monday. So I
Uh-huh.
only joined some workshops, some events on Monday and Tuesday. So, but it's fine. At least I can say that I attended the COP27.
I mean,
That's
that's already
great.
great. That's really great.
Yeah.
So just hold that thought. We'll get to it in a minute. I think we can start now. It's exactly 6. Go us for being super punctual. Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations to us. And also it's very cool because it's an activist live and whole girls or women activist live. So it's very cool. And
Yes.
I'm very looking forward to it. And I see
Yes.
people are slowly joining. I can hear myself going back, like my
Wait,
voice.
wait.
I don't know if it's
Now
okay.
it's fine.
Cool.
Yes, now
Okay,
it's fine.
perfect.
Now it's fine.
And for people who are just joining, just welcome to this activist live that we're holding with United for the campaign of the 9th of November, which we're gonna hear in a second. But just let me welcome you here. We are very excited to have this live on Instagram, just to keep old, of what is an activist principle, to involve as many people as possible, to use digital tools in a good way. And we're very excited to be here. Just to introduce myself, my name is Deborah, and I'm very happy to be here with Khadija, our speaker with Ifra. And I will leave the floor to Ifra to explain why are we doing this live talk today, which actually is the 11th of November, and why we, we're doing this today, and very looking forward to have this very cool dialogue with both of you.
Yes, thank you, Khadija. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Deborah. I'll get to thank you, Khadija, in a minute. Yes, to echo Deborah, welcome everyone. I'm Ifra. I'm here with United for Intercultural Action, which is an anti-racism organization that works pan-European. And our work is to bring together other activists, organizations, people, researchers who are working in the field of anti-racism. And one of the things we do every year is commemorate the 9th of November, which, as some people here might know, is a commemoration of 1938, which is when the Kristallnacht pogrom was carried out by the Nazis in Germany. It was a very, very dark night. Around 8,000 homes were destroyed and people were looted, and it was very dark, not only because of what happened that particular night, but because of what it signaled, the era it ushered in, what came after that. We all know what came after that. I don't need to go into too much detail there. And we feel at United that although it was many, many years ago and times have changed, it's very important to keep that memory alive and to keep revisiting it every year, because it's not something, we can all say never again as much as we want, but, we may see, if we're not careful, something like that could happen again eventually. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today is, for example, the red flags that we might see now. So we were in search for someone who might have a fitting profile, someone who works in the field of anti-racism, someone who is also based in Europe and is familiar with the history. And of course, Deborah and Khadija, I believe, already know each other. How do you know each other again?
We met in Khadija's town in Turin, for a very cool event, by the way. Which is also kind of
it was related to democracy and active citizenship, if I'm not wrong. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah,
well,
with
there
for
you go.
World Council of Europe, very cool events.
Yeah.
We clicked immediately. So very, very cool.
Well, speaking of democracy and active citizenship, so here's Khadija. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit. We already put your bio up and so on, but please, Khadija.
Okay.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself, about your activism, about your work?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm really honored and glad to be here. I'm Khadija Tirha. I'm Moroccan and European, Italian. I always consider myself as an Afro-European. Afro because I was born in Morocco, in Casablanca, 30 years ago. European because I'm Italian. I'm based here in Italy. I love Italy maybe more than my home country, but please don't hate your Moroccan people, by the way. And yeah, I'm involved in different organizations, different networks, international networks, who are working for youth engagement, youth empowerment, women empowerment, SDGs, intercultural dialogue, interfaith dialogue. I love to do different stuff. That's why sometimes I'm struggling with choosing just one direction, because I think that it's important to have different knowledge and also to be engaged in different networks, organization. And in the last years, I focus especially on interfaith dialogue. I'm part of different networks who are working for promoting interfaith dialogue and trying to fight, for example, violent extremism. So we are really focused on how can we use interfaith dialogue as a tool to fight violent extremism? How can you use our faith in order to fight against terrorism, against those propaganda that are trying to really separate us as a human being before being Muslim, Christian, whatever. And that's it. I'm really glad to be here, and I look forward to discuss about my own activism, my experience, and also to discuss about my experience as an Italian Muslim here in Europe.
Yes. I'm interested to hear about that. Your work on interfaith dialogue, this was in Italy only, or Where was it?
In Italy, also in Europe, let's say in a global way, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And I think you already kind of opened up about some of the topics that are very relevant for the reason we are today here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
as Ifra said, you know, we are here to remember what happened on the 9th of November, but also to make sense of what does it mean never again. That's why, you know, when picking up this campaign, we say, not today, fascism, not today. Just as a way of saying, it's not possible we are having it again after so many years, but also saying, like, you know, we can let this happen, okay, even though we see it happening somehow. And it's crazy how much it spreads, even in common language, in some attitudes, behaviors that especially young people nowadays, they tend to promote and to spread. So, you know, you already mentioned how sometimes as an activist today, it's even difficult to pick up some battles, no, where to focus, because it seems that, you know, it's, you know, there is struggles and fights everywhere and things that we should care about. But, you know, if we want to start from, let's say, being aware of things, when we talk about, you know, violent extremism and radicalization of young people, of a certain kind. So let's say, you know, people that are radicalized in white supremacy and what, you know, fascism very often looks today. Like, you as an activist, according to your experience, would you be able to name some red flags, some factors that in your opinion should, you know, we as activists be careful about when we, you know, we see it online in people, especially young people? So would you be able to name some of them, maybe?
Yeah, thank you for your question. You know, first of all, I really would love to say that it's really important to remember what happens in the past. And it's important to have a knowledge about the, let's call it collective memory. It's really important to remember our past. Also, we as an Italian, we don't have to forget our past. We have to learn from our past in order to face our future and our present. So that's why sometimes I feel that, okay, it seems like we didn't learn nothing from our past. It seems like that we think that we know what fascism it means, but we don't know. And some people, they consider themselves fascist, but they don't even know what does it mean, fascism. If you will ask them why you are fascist, what does it mean to be fascist, and what does it mean, the ideology behind the fascism, they don't know how to reply. They just say, yeah, I'm supporting Mussolini, I hate everyone, I'm promoting the white supremacy because we are not equal, you are less important than me because I'm Italian, and the other stuff. But they can't really argument their thoughts, their way of thinking. So this is the first things that you can recognize when you are talking about fascism. You really have to understand if the person who is in front of you is really conscious about the gravity to be fascist or to consider themselves like a fascist. Regarding the red flag that we are talking about, I think the first things that we have to be aware is regarding the language. Sometimes, even by joke, we use some slogans that are very, very dangerous. For example, in Italy, we have the slogan, which is very famous, l'Italia, gli italiani, which is Italia for Italians. This is a huge famous slogan about Mussolini. So if some people used to use this slogan by just to joke, it's not normal. You can't use this kind of joke, this kind of slogan, and joking about this slogan, you know. Or if you are using some slogan like this one, just to make joke, for example, even to raise your hands, as Mussolini used to do like this. It's, come on, this is very dangerous. You can't joke about these things because a lot of people will die. A lot of people are still facing, are still suffering about what happens in the past. So those kind of signs that can be verbal language, body language, are very dangerous. And you can really understand from these kind of things that this person is sympathized with fascism, or she's or he is fascist with proud, I mean, because they doesn't realize how it's really dangerous to make a joke sometimes with this kind of things. Another things that I think it's really important, despite the slogan, symbology, it's also the way of thinking of these people. Because when you talk with them, you can realize how they are really brainwashed, how they think that they live in a kind of their world where there is no one, I think, where they thought that they are the most privileged people in the society, where they start to promote violence and they start to justify the violence, or for example, they approve torture, they approve long incarceration regarding the penalty or prisoners, they approve execution and assassination. So they make like an excuse in order to approve those kind of things. They are really with the violence. They justify themselves. Okay, this person has to be put in the jail because she did or he did this kind of stuff. And they don't realize how we live in a rule of law. Let the law do their job. You are no one that can decide for this person that can that can go in the prison or not. You are not a lawyer. And even if you are a lawyer, there is someone up to you that will choose on behalf. You can choose on behalf of others, because we are not living in a society, thanks God, where there is no law, where we can decide about others. We can tell that this person is good, this person is bad. Okay, you can go this, you can go that. No, come on. We really have to pay attention about the power of using some words and the power also of acting in this way. It's also, I think, important. Another red flag that can be really relevant is also, I think that a lot of people, they express themselves in social media accounts. They don't care about what they say. They just saying, okay, go away in your country, you're not Italian. I faced a lot of problems, a lot of critics, a lot of things like that. You are not Italian. Why you are representing Italy in abroad? You're not Italian because you're Muslim, so you can't be Italian. But I don't care. I don't care because this opinion don't have to affect my activism. If only I heard all these comments, believe me, I won't be here talking with you. I will stay depressed. I won't do anything to change my society because I can just say, okay, we failed as a society, as an Italian society. There is no hope in this country because we are all racist. No, we have a lot of racism in my country, in Italy, as also Deborah knows. But we also have a lot of people that they believe in the change, that they believe in the dialogue. We should dialogue. We should talk with those people, even if they don't recognize as people, as human beings. We have to try to talk with them without judging them, because as I said before, some people, they consider themselves fascist, but they don't know what does it mean.
Precisely.
They consider themselves fascist only because they are really mad, they are really angry, they are really frustrated. So they have to find, come si dice capio espiatorio?
Scapegoating.
Scapegoating to attack everyone, everywhere. They only need to find something that can really, how can I say, attaccarsi.
Yeah, they have to stick to something.
Yeah,
They have
to
to
stick to
find,
something in order to just express themselves in a violent way. They are arguing with everyone because, of course, they are facing a lot of problems. So they have to find someone, especially someone, to attack them all the time because they're frustrated, unfortunately.
No, definitely, and I'm very happy you mentioned these things regarding the Italian context, because you mentioned some of the principles that, you know, really constitute this very powerful narrative that is very attractive, especially to young people. I would say especially to young men, but let's say to young people in general, also because, you know, and you were talking about your own strength, like the fact that, you know, luckily you're an activist and you find your strength, your commitment, you want to keep changing the world we are living in. So this gives you the strength. But the fact that many people instead associate this kind of narrative with strength without realizing they're actually becoming weaker. And it's something that is very fascinating because what is powerful about this narrative that is the fascist narrative, no? Is a part of being part of a group that gives you an identity though that is not built around what is your own strength, your own values, but around, you know, what do you opposite to. That's why it's so important for this kind of narrative, as you say, finding somebody to attack, finding an enemy, but also, you know, try to find a way to have your own world and, you know, your own truth without having to, you know, to face the reality. That's why one of the first steps to radicalize people and to, you know, to make them believe this fake narrative is to progressively take away their critical thinking. So it's very peculiar nowadays, no? That you see all these alternative things,
Yeah.
while in the end, you know, all they do is like make them follow another truth. They're not pushing young people to find a truth, you know, to activate their critical thinking,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just to follow somebody else who looks
yeah,
more powerful. So it's
yeah,
very peculiar how they confuse real strength, which is the strength of people who try to oppose violence and discrimination, with the strength coming from strong leaders who just tell them what to do, how to think, and who to hate.
yeah.
So
Sure.
it's something that I always find peculiar. And in one of the reasons that this kind, as you very rightly say, this kind of narratives get very powerful in moment of weaknesses of society.
Yeah. Let me add one thing. There is no critical thinking in fascism. You can't think different from them because you have to follow the wave. If you just will try to have a different opinion, you are completely out. They will exclude you. So you have to be like them, to think like them in order to be accepted. You can imagine how it's frustrating to live in this condition, because where is your freedom of choice? Where is your freedom of thinking? There is no freedom, of course. There is no freedom of speech. You are not free to think whatever you want because you are following others. You are following one way where there is no other alternatives. So I'm just trying really with a lot of difficulties, try to understand how people can they follow fascism thinking, fascism ideology, especially in our year, in 21st century. How can it be possible to still have these people that they are truly believe in what they think and what they do? Because unfortunately, they felt themselves that they are surrounded by others. So being in a group, it makes you powerful, you know. But it's the opposite, because I'm sure that there is a small number of people that they think like that in Europe. The majority believe in democracy, believe in the rule of law, believe in peace, believe in unicity, believe in a lot of things. So what we can do in order not to help, but to face, let's say, because we can't help others, I think we have just to give them some inputs in order to push them just to think, because everything is related to think. You should think what I'm doing, is it wrong or good? Why I consider myself better than others? Why diversity, it scared me? Why I can't accept others because of their color, religion, sexual identity, whatever? Why?
No,
So
definitely. Ifra, maybe, I was also thinking while hearing you, we have this paradox, and I think it's also a very good marketing strategy that actually people that know very well they're fascists, they deny being fascist. And we have all government in Europe that, they say, no, it's not possible. Fascism is something that, but
Indeed.
they promote it. And I think we have also another example of kind of it's called, pseudo-totalitarian democracy, which is Hungary at the moment, I would say.
that is an illiberal democracy. Yes, that's the word. Gosh.
Yeah,
As you were saying, the majority of Europeans want, democracy. I was thinking, well, sometimes it doesn't feel like it, sometimes where you're placed, where you are placed, it's very, actually, this leads me to my question. So what I was going to say was that sometimes it's very, like I tend to get quite cynical sometimes, I tend to feel like, this is exhausting and how are we ever going to do this? And we started this conversation with you saying, I'm Moroccan, but I live in Italy, but I love Italy. And sometimes I even prefer it more. And then you continued on to talk about how much racism there is in Italy and how much even fascism there is and how hard it can be to be, at least it sounds to me like it can be kind of challenging to be an activist in this sort of circle. So how do you talk of resilience, but I often find that resilience is a code word for resignation, it's a code word for exhaustion. But how do you manage to stay so, upbeat and so, I don't care what people say to me?
Yeah, indeed, it's very hard because it can be considered as a paradox that I said I love Italy, but in the same time I'm facing racism, Islamophobia, whatever in Italy. It's true, but this is the reality. I learned how to accept the reality, but with a strong desire to change the reality. Because accepting one thing, it doesn't mean that you don't want to change it. It means that, okay, you have to face this problem because it exists. You can change it. It's a long process. You have to be patient. You have to cry maybe a lot of times. You have to really find someone who believes in you, who can really fight with you. That's what I did. I found a lot of people here in Italy that think like me, that they believe in a change, that they believe in a side of Italy who is very beautiful, who believe in democracy, who believe in diversity, who believe in a society inclusion, society with an inclusive society. And we are trying to change our society. We know that our government doesn't help us, unfortunately, especially nowadays, but we can't lose our hope because of them. We have to change the reality. It's a long process. I can't tell you that, okay, it's easy. Next month, everything will be okay because I'm Khadija and I can do whatever. I can.
No, but I think you also centered another very powerful narrative that very often ends up being fake, like that a person loves their country just if, they think that their country is the best of all the others. No, loving something, loving someone, loving a country means a lot being critical of your own country because you want your country to be better. So you can love your country and being very critical of it. I think it's our common effort. So let's demystify it. I can love Italy and think very bad of Italy.
It's also a way to love. We all know that when you love something, you will fight for it. So love and sometimes hate are in the same floor, because you have to find the balance between loving things and hate it a lot. So for me, it's still hard to find a balance, but I think I don't have other choices. Maybe yes, if I will give up on it, I can do it, of course. But I'm still believing that we can change this narrative. We can really change through our actions, through our work, through our way of thinking. We can change our society through our actions because we have to give an example to others. We can't blame others without being an example as a first things, because we can criticize everything, Europe, Italy, whatever, but if we are not acting to change the reality, I mean, it's really useless to criticize everything without doing nothing, because you are just blaming someone or something. Okay, but what's the point in your critic? Give us the solution, chat. Help us to find a solution, a common way where we can really change this narrative. So that's what I mean. My path, it started realizing and be aware that we live in this country with this condition, with these difficulties, and we as Italians, as a second generation, because I'm part of the second generation, so I can say that my generation is different from my parents' generation. Of course, I'm well educated, I can speak Italian very well, so only this stuff, it will help me a lot, and it helps me a lot to face a lot of problems, because when you are able to speak in a good way a local language, a national language, believe me that others will change their behaviors based on your speaking. That's really wow.
That's also fair, to be honest.
I have the same feeling living here in Hungary. Like even if I speak 3 words of Hungarian, the shopkeeper is immediately, oh yes.
You know what? Last week when I was in Sharm el-Sheikh, I realized how Sharm el-Sheikh is full of Italians. I didn't know before. I was surrounded by Italians. Crazy. When I spoke with them in Italian, they were like shocked. Parli italiano. I was like, you speak Italian? Oh my God. I was like, yes, I speak Italian. They were shocked because in their mind, they can't accept that someone with a headscarf speak Italian. But that's really crazy, insane. I mean, where you are living? You are living, come on, in Italy. You didn't see someone with headscarf who is speaking Italian maybe better than you. So I mean, that is sad. But in the same time, you have to laugh because I mean, you can cry, you can be mad, or you can just laugh in a, in a sarcastic way, of course. Right. I was laughing, but was like, wow, why it's weird to speak Italian.
My opinion, is like you have inside yourself actually the power to disrupt. I think that's very cool, actually. You also disrupted the phone, but just saying. I mean, that's the amazing thing of being people, being human after all, because just you being you are something that puts in crisis such narratives, because you are living emblem that many of these things that they say, this hate, doesn't have any sense at all. You just exist as you are, just denying what they say that is not possible to do some things. And so you just by existing, you deny much of their things. I think that's very much powerful. But I also think that it's very unfair, the fact that, you constantly are asked somehow to
prove that you are Italian.
Exactly.
That's really make me upset all the time, because I'm so tired to explain I'm Italian, I'm Moroccan, I was born in Morocco, but someone even asked me, oh, did you revert to Islam? No, I'm not reverted. I was born Muslim. Why I have to revert? Come on. Yeah, you can imagine how it's frustrating sometimes to explain what it should be normal. We have to normalize that some people are born in another country which is different from their or parents' country or whatever. It's normal. In Italy, it's not that normal, so we have to be patient to do
Yes.
some yoga or some zen.
Migration is normal. It happens. People move.
Yeah,
But
that's
also,
really
I mean, from my point of view, let's also understand that maybe what is considered to be normal wasn't sane in the first place. I mean, we
yeah,
accepted as normal many things that are not good for people at all, because it's a normal that was decided by only small group of people. So of course it doesn't apply to everybody. And that's why, I mean,
sure.
there are people that are exposed to questions that other people, you know, all the questions that make you, because they have to make sense of something. They're questions that they wouldn't make to another Italian. And that's
Sure.
already frustrating and is not fair. And then my question would be, since, you know, as an activist, I mean, my strength, for instance, comes from the groups, I mean, particularly the group of the No Hate Speech Movement Italy, which I represent, but, you know, that made an action and do many nice things. But for you, which role, I mean, was it easy to find allies and fellow activists in Italy? Because you spoke a lot, you know, about how these people make you love Italy when
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
things happen. But how do you find
Okay.
also the activist groups in Italy? Because I also know that sometimes there are problems also there. So how is the experience, maybe?
Let me tell you that Turin, as you know and as you saw, it's a multicultural city. So we are very lucky in this sense because I found a lot of challenges in order to find my, let's say, sense of belonging of my city, of my community. But I did it. So I feel belonging to my city, to my community. But at the beginning, it was hard to find a group of people. It can be an association, an organization, a youth collective, whatever, that helps you to showcase your passion, your ability, your skills, and that's it. When I joined an organization here in Turin, I was like 17 years, 17, 18 years, and it was in the beginning of my university path. And also I was looking for some association that can really show me what does it mean to work in an international cooperation field, because I started my path in a bachelor degree about international cooperation, and I was really lost because I couldn't really understand why I'm doing this course without having some practical lessons, some practical things that can help me to understand why it's important to work in a cooperation field. So I started with this organization to work with them as a volunteer, and they proposed me to be involved in the activity that I really love, which is the human library. I'm a human library, and I started to become a human library in high schools here in not only in my city but in the region, Piedmont region. And I realized how this activity, how this tool or concept helps me to believe in myself, to have a self-esteem, to explain my story with my voice, with my narratives, with myself. I don't need someone who helps me to explain my story because I can do it by myself. I can raise awareness on racism, Islamophobia, whatever, discrimination, prejudice, whatever, with my own words. And I started to build my story in a in a critical way also, because I talk about my failures, my strengths, my weaknesses. In high schools, you can imagine how it's strong to see Muslim women, Italian, Moroccan, whatever you will define sometimes, who has the courage to enter in a high school to speak with youngs, with students, about someone who is different because he has a headscarf, because she decided to wear a headscarf, so no one forced her. That's really important to underline, because sometimes it's like obvious that you are forced to wear the headscarf. So I learned how to share my story in a simple way, because you don't need to use huge words, difficult words to explain your story. And I started to raise awareness on the importance of dialogue, because we need to dialogue with others. We need to use the dialogue as a tool to understand ourselves, to create a better understanding between me and you. Because we thought that we are different, in somehow we are different, but in somehow we are not different. We have a lot of things in common. Let's talk about those things. Why we are always focusing on things that divided us. We are always talking about this stuff. Let's talk about what we have in common. Let's talk about our passion or our love for cooking, for football, for traveling, for pizza, for whatever, but let's talk. So I found my strength in the human library as a tool, because it helps me to have a lot of courage to also condemn bullies, because I was victim of bullies in the high school. So I decided to come back in the same high school where I was bullying, in order to talk about my story in front of others, not my ex-students, ex-colleagues, sorry. But I found a professor who was my professor, and he doesn't know my story. I think it was like 6 or 7 years later, I came in the same school. When I share my story, he was like crying, because he says, "Oh, Khadija, I didn't know what happens to you because you didn't ask me at all." That's why. I didn't tell you because you didn't ask me. You knew that I was facing these problems, but you didn't ask me. That's why I didn't tell you. And he was like, feel like a guilty. I told him, don't feel guilty, please. It happened, unfortunately. I learned how to face bullies, pain with my body, with myself, unfortunately. But here we are. I'm there. I'm talking about bullies in my ex high school, and I'm proud of myself because I had the courage. A lot of people doesn't have the courage to talk about what happens to them, and this is really sad. But we have to help others to have the courage to speak about what happens to them, to report bullying actions, to report racism, discrimination, and whatever. Because if we all do these things, we can find strength in others, because we are not alone, and people doesn't leave us, you know. So you feel that you are part of some group that will support you in this way. That's it. I don't want to cry now.
No, that was really beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing that. You know, you're talking about how, you know, you wanted to tell your teacher. Well, you didn't ask me. I'm wondering if I can ask you now about that experience. Because I guess in high school you must have worn the hijab as well back then too, right? Or no?
No,
No,
that's
okay.
incredible. Yeah, I didn't wear hijab when I was a victim of bullying. That means that bullying sometimes doesn't look to things like headscarf to attack you.
Yeah.
It's no sense. So bullying makes no sense. So
Yeah.
doesn't have to find some things in order to attack you. So a lot of people, they thought that, oh, you were bullied because of your headscarf. No, because when it happens, I was without headscarf. People bullied me because of my name, which is Khadija and not Sarah or Deborah or whatever. Well, it's a stranger name, so they start to joke with my name. The fact is, my name is Khadija in Italian. l'abbreviativo, the short way of my name is Cadi. Cadi in Italian, it means fell down. So they start to say, fell down, Cadi, 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 Cadi.
Yeah.
La figa, unfortunately, my surname is Tira. So they start to joke with my name, fell down, and like, come si dice tirare?
Pull. Like
Pull,
pull
sorry,
and
pull,
fall.
fell down and pull, fall down, fell, and
Oh,
Yeah.
start to like, sing a song with my name and with my
yeah.
surname. And because of that, everything was started. You can imagine how it's insane to bullying someone because of that.
Yeah.
It's no sense, unfortunately, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, bullies are bullies, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And
but
kids
that's
can be
also, it's
especially
very,
cruel.
yeah, and it's very important to spot. So I think that the conversation you had with your professor, I think it's very enlightening because it shows how adults very often are blind because bullying is simply reproducing violent kind of structures that kids see in society. So I mean, it's just one name, really. It can be a motive for wearing glasses, or can be wearing the things in your, you know, the braces on your teeth, or I don't know, being taller than others, being shorter, being a little bit
Sure.
chubbier, everything, or, you know, having a darker skin, a pale skin very often, people with freckles. I mean, everything can be a reason of bullying, just being diverse.
Right.
Why? Because it's a way, we talked before, no, with the dangers of fascist narratives. It's narratives of violence.
Oh, you went.
We lost your voice.
Oh no, I think we lost.
Okay.
Now she's back.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry, I lost you because there was a call coming. And I was saying, just the fact that you think you're full when you make somebody else feel weak. That's something we really need to struggle as activists. That's why group is important, but not a group like us versus them, but a huge collective us. We're all stronger together.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a group and fight with them like a group. No, we will do same things that you do against us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have kind of a difficult question. You might have to think on it for a second because I never know how to answer this question. So you talk about, you know, we have to change the narrative, you know, we have to get the message across. Can you think of any examples when you felt like you might have successfully managed to do that? You know, just flip the switch in someone who seems like they could not have been convinced otherwise. You know, just I'm looking for happy stories to counter the story you just told us.
Okay, the happy story is related to my past, unfortunately. So, but it's a happy story, okay? I think in 2019, yeah, 3 years ago, I was invited as a speaker to be a TEDx speaker. 2019. After that, coronavirus come. So we stopped for 2 years. And this year, I had the privilege to deliver my first TED talk. When we decided,
Congrats.
decided with my TEDx coordinator about the topic, about the story that I wanted to share, I decided to share my story because she said, "Oh, you are a human library. That's very interesting." A lot of people in Italy, they don't know what does it mean. They don't know the human library concept. So what about if you will use your TED Talk as a tool in order to show your story? It's like a human library, you know, so you just have 18 minutes to say some things, to send a message. So you have to have a message, strong message that you want to show to others. So after I can send you even the link about my TED Talk.
Please
And
do.
so I talk about my story, who I am. I'm Khadija, I'm Moroccan, I'm Italian. I'm still facing problems about my identity, my religion, my headscarf, whatever. But I found my place. I mean, I found i miei alleati, l'inglese non mi viene oggi, my like
My allies.
my allies, and my allies are my friends, same friends that they helped me to face bullying in high school. And after years and years and years, I say thank you to them before, but I use my TED Talk to say thank you, especially to one friend who is atheist. She's atheist. You can imagine how it's strong to have a friend who is atheist, and the same person helps me to wear my headscarf. She doesn't believe in God. When we talk about God, we have different direction. I'm in the right, left. Okay, so we don't talk about religions and other stuff. But what we have in common is the freedom of choice. It's choosing whatever you want because you believe in it. And she pushed me, she supported me to follow my way because she knew that I'm happy in doing this stuff. So she just supported me. She doesn't want anything in return. She just tell me, Khadija, be yourself. Fi te stessa. Come on, you don't have to care about others. They will always criticize you. With headscarf, without headscarf, naked, whatever. If you will cover yourself, they will judge you. If you will go naked, they will judge you. So just be yourself. You don't have nothing to lose. So in my TED Talk, I talk about her, and she was in the theater. I invited her as a guest. I didn't tell her that I will speak about her.
Beautiful.
Now I'm crying. So I say thank you to her and to my friends because of them, I found a strength to be myself. That's why it's really important to find good people around you. Because if you are surrounded by people, they don't like you, they don't support you, they drive your energy, you won't do anything in your life because you are all the time surrounded by people that they give you bad vibes in order to have a good lives, to have a people that supporting your growth, that they believe you, that they are not jealous of you, especially at this point. So, and I finished my TED Talk talking about the concept of legacy, which is a huge concept that maybe we all know the meaning, but the legacy word, it's always related to something's really material. When we are talking about legacy, we're talking about, for example, what you will leave once you will gonna die. You will leave houses, cars, huge money to your daughter, parents, whatever. But when we are talking about legacy, we are also talking about some things that you will leave to others. That can be your behaviors, that can be your actions, your love, your taking care of others. And when I finished my TED Talk asking the audience, what's your legacy? My legacy is my story, is my human library experience that I left in other people's life. Because I'm sure that talking about my story in high schools, maybe I didn't change other minds, but I'm sure that those people will remember my story because I make an impact in their life during 1 hour because I was talking all the time. They heard me, they asked me a lot of questions, and they were like surprised. Oh my gosh, we've never seen a girl like you talking perfectly in Italian, talking about beautiful stuff, and that's it. So that's what matters. You have to find your legacy, which is very hard sometimes because it's something very also related as a Muslim practicant people. For me, like it's very important even as a Muslim because I'm taking care about what I will live in this world in order to obtain good things in the other world. But this is related to faith. If you believe in nell'aldilà, come si dice aldilà?
Afterlife.
After
Basically.
in afterlife.
Jannat.
Yeah, in
Jannat.
Italian is
Yeah, that's
on the other
yeah.
side, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also thinking about the legacy without having a faith or being spiritual, of course. Just
Sure.
have to think what I will leave to others. What's my legacy? What's my purpose in my life? So
Sure.
I wish I gave to others my legacy during my TED talk because that was my purpose. But I think that through telling our story, this is a legacy because we are really giving others part of our stories, part of me. Even now, I'm telling you my story, I'm sharing you my story, my experience, and I'm giving you part of my legacy, you know? So that's it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That was an absolutely beautiful story. I'm going to look up your TED talk after this because
Yeah, I
even
will
if
share.
even if it's in Italian, I'll just find a way to translate it.
Yeah.
It reminds me, actually, I used to have a friend. She would always say when she was a kid, she used to go to summer camp. Her parents used to put her in summer camp, and she always said that there was this one thing that her summer camp counselors used to say that has stuck with her even now, which is that always make sure to leave the room cleaner than you found it. And I think that's sort of along the lines of what you're saying. Make sure to make the world a little bit nicer than how you found it. Do everything you can. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for that
Yeah,
message. I'm going to run with
definitely.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you remind me literally of a meme that I saw,
Yeah.
like, how can it be? It's not like maybe a meme is like an artist, it's called the hot meal. It's very ironical, but it's also very deep. And there is this scene in which a young kid asks what is supposed to look like death, saying, "How can I be immortal? How can I make sure people,
You
remember
remember
me?
me.
Like, be
Wow.
kind."
Wow.
Which is, it's literal what you said. You don't need to be, regardless you believe in an afterlife, you believe in God or you don't. It's this concept that also Ifra was saying, like, make sure that what you leave behind is something made of kindness. And I really resonated with me, like, you can
Yeah.
always find people who will give you a hand if you look, like, even when you feel lonely or that you're alone and maybe nobody really likes you. And I'm thinking about, when
Yeah.
you're a kid, there is always someone. We need always to
Always
keep
here.
looking,
No,
always.
that's completely true. You always to find someone who can help you or be that person that will help someone else. Because
Definitely.
if no one helps you, you can help someone. You don't have to be selfish in that sense. Because if others are not like you don't have to be like others. You don't have to give them the same coin, you know? So you can change other behaviors through your behavior, you know? And also the quote that Ifra she mentioned, you remind me to Mahatma Gandhi quotes, who says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Indeed, we have to be that change, because if we won't act in order to obtain that change, we can't blame our world, our community. We should be our change.
Thank you very
Definitely.
much.
Thank you.
So we are almost up and our time is almost done, but I would love to ask you a final question. And by the way, if anyone listening here has any questions to ask, then please do add them in the comments and we'd be happy to answer them. So what advice would you give to young activists who are trying to make the world a bit better and who are feeling a little bit depressed about it?
Okay, my first suggestion, advice is be committed. Be committed about what you are doing. Don't lose hope, because you will find a lot of struggle, a lot of problems, a lot of issues. That's completely normal. That's how life it works. So You just have to be committed, to believe in your work, continue to work hard and hard, because at the end, you will do it. You will reach your goals, your objectives. In all the ways, you will do it. You just have to be patient, to be passionate, and to be patient, you know. You should be patient, be patient. It's everything very related to your work. That's my biggest advice that I can say to myself and to others. Because if we are not really committed, or if you won't find come si dice stimoli?
Something that stimulates you. At the moment,
Yeah,
I don't get
stimulate. Yeah, if you won't find a stimulation about what you are doing, you will stop to do it. So you always have to find some things that can stimulate you in order to move forward, you know, to move forward from your path, from your work. And you have to believe in a change. If you don't believe in a change, you will lose. We will lose, indeed, because we don't believe that things can change. So why we are here if we don't believe in a change? We can go outside, we can go to the cinema, we can go to chilling out with our friends in order to stay here. But we believe in a change. We believe in the power of social media channels. We believe in the powerful of spreading our words, our voice, and that's why we are here, because we are committed in the end. So be committed.
And find and make sure to find and keep close the people who are like-minded, who agree with you, who can empower you, who can give you that sort of strength, like you were saying.
Definitely. Be surrounded by people that they believe in you. Without this, it will be hard for you, for us, to continue to work and to be committed, because we are not supported by anyone. So how can we support ourselves if no one believes in us, you know? It's very hard to support yourself by yourself. Sometimes you are forced to do it because there is no other conditions, but sometimes you just have to find the right people that can help you to continue to grow in this way.
Yeah, and if I may, since we're on United Channel, look also for network. Like sometimes you may not find them next to your house, cannot be your neighbor, would be neighboring city or even in another country. Like you said, also social media connection. We are here from 3 different places.
Yeah,
we are talking. So you can look also for network organization that can help you. United is one of those. Look for activist group. Like you can make new friends, new allies, and also to help other friends, as you said. So always look, and you know, I totally agree. Patience and passion, like the two things. Really need them.
Patience and passion. Absolutely, networking, it saves my life. I can really truly confirm that networking is powerful. I met a lot of people during my life, but especially in the last 10 years. I met thousands of people around the world. That helps me to grow up, that helps me also to find a job, to be honest. And that's really important, networking, because it really helps you to connect with people, not with the same mind, but at least with some things in common with you that can help you to have different opportunities, to access to different opportunities, because sometimes we are blaming our country, our state, our community because there is no opportunity. But who told you? You have to find opportunities. Opportunities exist. You just have to figure out how to find those opportunities. You have to work. You have to spend a lot of time searching on those opportunities. The opportunity won't come to your house. Dudu, hi, I have an opportunity for you. Follow me. No, you have to follow the opportunity. It's not the opposite. Because sometimes we are praying that some things come to us, but we have to come to the things, you know. So we have to push ourselves. Otherwise, we will stay stuck in our place, in our home, in our city, and we won't do anything diverse or different from what we are doing in our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. I think we can wrap up soon, but if you have any parting words, both Khadija and Deborah, before we do so, please. Any thoughts, final thoughts you might like to share?
What I can say, thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here. By the way, this is my first live after, I think, 4 years or 5 years.
Oh,
My gosh, I don't used to
Nice,
do
no, I like it actually.
very cool.
Yeah.
so I'm happy that I challenge myself in this way. And what thank you for giving me this opportunity, for believing in my work.
No, the honor is all ours. Please, thank you for
Thank you for
making the
sharing.
time and joining. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I really encourage all of you, all of us, to continue to work hard in order to perceiving our goals, our objectives. And we don't have to lose hope. We don't have to give up on it. We just have to be a bit passionate, to be. And that's so thank you once again. I'm sure that together we can really fight fascism. I'm sure
Inshallah.
we can do it, inshallah. We just have to be strong, to be patient, that and also to be aware that the change, it's a long process. We can obtain the change tomorrow or next week. It's really hard. We just have to be committed in order to obtain the change. So let's push ourselves to be the best version of ourselves.
Definitely.
Indeed. Definitely. Heart, I can only use one hand. Thank you for your very inspiring words, Khadija. I hope we'll be in touch in the future as well, and maybe we'll actually work together at some point. I would love to do that. But thank you for joining. Thank you to all those who joined and who listened. Thank you, Khadija. Thank you, Deborah. And we will talk again soon. Thank you again for taking out the time. Gracias. Shukriya. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.